All right, let's talk about something I think we've all felt. You know that feeling of just spinning your wheels? You're working harder and harder, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Well, today we're going to dig into a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea from ancient philosophy. The art of achieving more by, well, doing less. It's called the Wu Wei way.
Okay, let's just start right here, because this quote, it really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It's that feeling deep in your gut when you've poured every ounce of energy into something, only to find yourself totally exhausted and stuck in the exact same spot. It's maddening.
And you know, this whole cycle, this trap, it actually has a name. It's called the burnout paradox. Think of it like this. You're on a treadmill, and you think, if I just run faster, I'll get there quicker. So you crank up the speed until you're just gasping for air, about to fly right off the back. All that effort for basically zero progress. It's a total recipe for disaster.
I mean, we're taught this from day one, right? The whole hustle and grind culture. The idea that brute force is the answer to everything. Every problem becomes a nail, and we're supposed to be the hammer, just smashing away at it. But what if that's the very thing that's actually holding us back?
So yeah, what if the real secret isn't about pushing with all your might? What if it's about finding a smarter, more elegant way to move forward? To really get what that means, let's jump into a story that just brings this idea to life perfectly.
So, I want you to meet Matthew. He's a startup founder, and he was basically living and breathing that hustle culture we were just talking about. His story is a really powerful kind of cautionary tale about how sometimes the intense will to succeed can become your own worst enemy.
Matthew was the absolute poster child for rise and grind. He was completely obsessed with this idea that the only way his startup would succeed was if he personally sacrificed everything for it. You know the type. Sleep is for the weak, outwork everybody. That was his entire mantra.
So what did that look like? 16-hour days, every single day. Just think about that for a second. That's basically working 2 full-time jobs, all crammed into this one sleep-deprived, caffeine-fueled existence. He was literally trying to bend the world to his will, 1 agonizing hour at a time.
So, after all of that, all the blood, sweat, and probably a lot of tears, after giving up his health, his time, his sanity, what did he actually have to show for it? What was the big payoff?
Zero. A big, fat 0% growth. He was totally trapped. The harder he pushed, the more stuck he became. It was this nightmare he had created for himself, and his dream was just withering away.
So, right when he was at his absolute breaking point, Matthew runs into this mentor who could just see that he was about to collapse. And with something as simple as a glass and some water, this mentor completely changed how Matthew saw everything.
And this image right here, it just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Matthew's approach, just a frantic, chaotic mess, splashing everywhere, energy totally wasted. And on the other side, you see a completely different path, one that's calm, focused, and actually works.
That first pour, that's a perfect picture of Matthew's 16-hour days. It's all this furious activity, but it's creating more of a mess than actual progress. Just like that water splashing over the sides, most of his effort was just gone, wasted.
But that second pour, that's where the magic is. It's all about moving with purpose, not with panic. It's about getting to your goal with a sense of ease, not by grinding yourself into dust. It's the huge difference between trying to fight the river and learning how to become the river.
Now, this simple lesson with the glass of water, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. It's actually based on this incredibly profound ancient philosophy that might just hold the key to unlocking a life of, well, effortless achievement. So let's dive into the way of Wu Wei.
So, Wu Wei is often translated as effortless action. But look, don't let that name fool you. This is not about being lazy or just sitting around doing nothing. Not at all. It's about being smart. The best way to think about it is like a master martial artist. They don't try to overpower their opponent with brute force. They use their opponent's own energy and momentum against them. It's elegant, it's efficient.
This chart just lays it out so clearly. You've got 2 paths you can choose. On the left, you have the rock-breaking mindset. It's all about force, resistance, and ultimately burnout. But on the right, you've got the water-flowing mindset. It's about adapting, flowing, and finding sustainable growth. It's a pretty clear choice when you see it like this.
And it all comes down to this one kind of paradoxical idea. Slow down to speed up. It sounds crazy, right? But it's about trading all that frantic, panicked activity for focused, intentional action. It's realizing that sometimes the most productive thing you can possibly do is to just stop for a second.
So how do you actually use this like today? Well, it comes down to these 4 steps. First, you got to figure out what your rock is, that thing you keep slamming your head against. Then, and this is the hard part, you have to stop pushing. Just stop, step back, look for a different way around, the path of least resistance, and then act with patience, not force. The next time you feel stuck, I want you to try this. Just stop, take one deep breath, and ask yourself, okay, what's the water flowing way to do this? It's a simple question, but it can unlock a totally new way of seeing the problem.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Where in your own life are you fighting the rock? In your job, your relationships, your personal goals? And what would it look like? What would it feel like if you chose to be the water instead? The power to change that path, it's right there.